Yes, my voice is audible and screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
See, we have covered all these points, okay, in our all previous sessions. Default argument, what is mean by default argument, reference argument. We have also seen the function overloading. Okay, we have seen the inline functions written by reference. Okay, so today we are going to discuss the last point of this unit. Okay, name as what is mean by the friend function and then the static function. Okay, so I'm going to cover the static function part first. Okay, and if the time remains, we will go for the understanding the plain function. Okay, so first we understand what is mean by the static data member. Okay, or static variable rather I say, and then we are also going to see what is mean by the static function, how it is declared and used in the C++. Okay, so let us start with the first point. Okay, so as I said, we are going to start and discuss first the static data members or static variable. Okay, so we have considered what is mean by, so in a class, I think we have seen that the class consists of the data members and member function. Okay, so we declared the data as well as the function which operate on that data inside a class. Okay, so in such a case, that data which we are going to declare use inside the class, okay, can be declared as a static. Okay, and that is called as static data member. A data member of a class can be static. Okay, it can be declared as a static. The properties of static member variable are similar to that we have learned into the in the C programming, what is mean by the static variable. Okay, so the properties are same as we have learned in the C programming. A static member variable has following special characteristic. Okay, so I'm just going to revise the special characteristics of a static member. When I declare the any variable, okay, as a static, so which is characteristics of the properties it is having. So first one is the first and important property it is initialized to 0 when the first object of its class is created. Okay, so it is initialized to 0 by default whenever the first object of the class is created. No other initialization is permitted. Okay, so we cannot reinitialize it, or any through the any object we cannot reinitialize. Though I create the n number of object, okay, its value will be initialized only once and it is initialized to 0. Okay, so that is what the first property we are having. Second property is only one copy of that member is created for the entire class. Okay, so if generally what happens, suppose I create the object A, B and C. Okay, so the A is also having all the data member separate copy, B object is also having separate data member, C is also having the separate data member of the class. Okay, but it is not happens with if I declare the variable as a static. Okay, so only one copy of that static data member is created for the entire class and it is shared by all the objects of that class. Okay, no matter how many objects are created. Okay, so I create 3 objects, 5 objects or 10 objects, all are going to share or are going to use the only one copy of that static member variable. So it is shared by all the object. Okay, if it is not static, then generally what happens, the data is copied for every object. Suppose I am having 3 objects, then there will be 3 separate copies of my data of my class or data member of the class. Okay, but if it is declared as static, then it indicates that there is only one copy of the member is created for the entire class and is shared by all the objects of the class. Okay, so because once it is updated, if any object is going to update the value, going to change that counter value to 3, it is applicable to all the objects. All other objects also have the same access to that count. Okay, generally when we are going to use this static member, is suppose I'm having one unique ID. Okay, for example, suppose whenever I'm going to create the PRN number of the student, or suppose I'm assigning the roll number to the student. Okay, I may mark that roll number value to a static. Okay, because once that roll number is assigned, okay, all other members are going to use the same static value of that particular roll number. Okay, so all other functions, I may have the separate function, okay, related to exam, related to the office, related to hostel. Everyone will going to use the same value. They are not going in a position to update the value, okay, or they are not going to, or they are not having separate copy of that roll number data or the value, but they are going to share the same one. Okay, so in such a cases, or suppose I am having the shop, I am having the product IDs assigned. So generally I may take that product ID value to be, whenever I have the new product, it should be incremented by 1. Or in the bank, suppose I am having the account number. Okay, so new customer comes, the whatever the last account number I am having, okay, that is incremented by 1 and that is assigned to the name, account number, and so on. So in all such cases, generally we go for the making the use of the static data member. Okay, third and another property or characteristic is it is visible only within the class, but its lifetime is entire program. Okay, so actually visible only for that particular class. It is not visible outside the class, but the lifetime, or it will be available till the end of the program. Okay, or for entire program. Okay, the next point is static variables are normally used to maintain values common to the entire class. Okay, so I want to maintain the values which is common to the entire class. In such a case, I will use the variable with the keyword as a static. Okay, for example, a static data member can be a counter. Okay, so generally we take the example or the help of the any variable which is counter or count that records the occurrences of all the objects. Okay, so in such a case, I will take this number of objects are there. Once it is created, the count is incremented. Okay, so in such a case, we may go for the help of the counter, or the count should be considered as a static. Okay, and it is going to increment it whenever the objects are created. Okay, so let us understand this with the help of the program or the example. And once we understand static member and its use, then we go for the static member function. Okay, we are considering static data member, and then we go for static function. Okay, let us understand one example over here. Static data member. Okay, so how it is declared? Just look at this. This is the class atom. Okay, so I consider that it is the number of atoms in my shop. You may consider it. Okay, now here the count I want to maintain. I want maintaining the number of atoms in my shop. Okay, that is my count. Okay, so count indicate number of items are there or products are there in my shop. I'm going to make it as a static. Okay, so it is static integer count. So this is my data and this is my function part of my class. Okay, class, we have seen that the class is generally consists of the two parts. One is the member, data member, or the data, and this is the function. Okay, now again I'm having one more thing as a number. Okay, so I have a number which I'm going to assign to that particular atom. Okay, it is integer, but I am not made it as a static. At this count I wanted, this should count me the total number of atoms. Okay, so next I'm having number is not integer but is not static. Okay, so I'm having these two data members. This is my static. Public, I'm having two functions. One is get data. Okay, so this function is to get the data integer a. Now what is number? Number is equal to a. Okay, means now the atom number may be 38, 39, 451, anything. Okay, but the count. Okay, so I want to count number of atoms are there in my shop. Okay, for example, I want, now I am having 50 atoms in my count is 50 atoms are there. Okay, the atom number may be any value. Okay, atom number may be 35, 39, 100, 1000, 2000, or A11. It may be anything. Okay, as we decide. Okay, but now after 50 atoms are there in my shop, and now I have decided to have one more atom. Okay, in my shop. Okay, so I will bring one more product in my shop. Now that atom number for that particular, it may be any value. Okay, it may be A111, A55, anything which I can assign. Okay, but my count, if it is already 50, then it should be incremented to 51. That indicate by that in my shop now I am having 51 atoms. Getting me? So if I bring one more atom, it will become 52. Okay, so that's why I'm making this count as a static. Okay, so void get data integer a, number will be assigned as the value entered by the user. Okay, and but the count is incremented. So as I told, its initial value will be, what is the initial value of this static integer? Its initial value is 0. Okay, it is by default initialized to 0. So when I increment, it will become 1. When the new atom number is added, okay, new atom is there in the shop where I am adding the new atom, the count will be incremented automatically. Plus this will make it as a 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so I'm having one more function void get count. Okay, so here I'm displaying the C out count, and I'm just displaying the count value over here, static count value. Okay, so whenever I'm adding the new atom in my shop, the count value will be incremented. Okay, so that's why I'm making it as a static. If I not make it as a static, okay, I think maybe the other function, whenever it is going to accept, this may have some different value. Okay, so that's why we are having this as an example. Okay, I hope all of you understood why we are declaring. We just go through the program also. Now, suppose this is the case, what I should write in my main function now. So this is the class I have written. Okay, I've written it in the class. Okay, but what I'm going to write in the main function, or how my main function will look like, what I shown, the main function will be look like something this. Now I have having atom is the name of the class. I have declared three objects of it. Getting me? A, B, and C. See this A, B, C, these are the three objects of the class atom. Okay, but now, hello. Okay, now this A, B, C will not have a separate copy of the static variable count as we have seen in the properties. Okay, and the count is initialized to 0. Okay, so whenever the first object created, count is initialized to 0, and these ABC objects are not accepting, they are not getting or not using a separate copy of count, but throughout the class there is only one copy of the static variable. Okay, so here I am just getting the first, I am calling a dot get count. Again, we also check the value of count, C also check. So what is the expected output over here? What you feel, what should be the value displayed in the get count? Yes, what is the value expected to be displayed on the count? What is the initial value of the count? Yes? 0. So though A dot get count, A object is going to display the value of count, it is also 0. B also want to display, it will also get the 0. See, whenever it is display, again it is 0. Okay, because it is initialized to 0. Okay, but now through A object, I have added one get data. Okay, so I have added one atom number into it, and that atom number is 100. B object has added it to 200. C object has added, now this 100, 200, 300 are my atom number or my product number. Okay, and in that function you have seen, when I am going to add the atom, counter is incremented. Getting me? So here the counter is 0, here it will become 1, here it will become 2, here it will become 3. Okay, and after reading the data, suppose I am going to display here again, A also display what is the count, B also display the count, C also display the count. So here what will be expected to be displayed on the screen? Count value should be displayed in. What is the expected value of count now? It will become 3. Okay, so A also accepted, it will become 3. For B also it is 3, C also it is 3. Okay, so if it is not static, what will happen? The A will get the value count will be 1, B also get it 1, C also get it 1. But as we have made it is a static, okay, so it will be accepted whenever any object is going to add the atom, it is incremented. Here it is incremented. So here I will get this answer of all this value will be 3. Here I should get the answer as a 0. Okay, that is what is I'm expecting. Okay, so let us execute the program. Again, and we understand, I think all of you are having this description just now we have seen. Let us do it as a program. Okay, and then we go for the understanding the member function, static member function. Okay, so I just come open the, okay, I will just show this also. Okay, okay, we'll check this. Okay, here also we can see sharing of the static data member. Okay, so number is having the value 100. This is object A. Okay, this is the object A number value. This is the object B number value. This is object C. Okay, now this object ABC are having the separate copy of number because it is not static. Okay, they are having separate variable as a number data member. Okay, but the count is declared as a static. So this is the only one copy of the count is there, okay, and it is shared by all the A, B, and C. Okay, so only one copy is common to all the objects. If I declare the member as a static, and that is what is shown in this diagram. Okay, is this clear to all?
Yes, sir.
So let us go for the program. Okay, let me open the editor. We are going to implement this as an example as a program, and then we go to the. Just 1 minute. Let me open the Turbo C editor. Generally, we are having the habit of giving unit number 2 I see it is program number. I don't know. I just remember I give it as 50. Okay, dot CPP. My editor is visible to all. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have written that the program to demonstrate the use of the static data member. Okay, we should go for hash include iostream dot h. We require the Punio dot h. We are going to use. We have to declare the class first. Okay, so class atom. I hope all of you remember how we have declared the static variable over there. Okay, I will not go back to the PPTs, okay, but I have shown it as an example. Okay, so class atom. So we are having two values over there. One is number. Atom number is there that may have. Suppose, for example, I'm having the atom as the keyboard. Okay, so keyboard may have the atom number 333 or maybe any value. Okay, that I'm referring that particular atom or the product with some number. Okay, but count will be indicate that how many number of atoms I am having in my shop. Okay, so that's why I take this as a by default it is a private. So we are having it as a static integer count. Getting me? And I also want to use number. Some number I am going to assign to my product. Okay, so that will be my atom number. Okay, we have done such kind of the things for the computer related shop. Okay, we have called it as computer materials are there. We have entered their atom number, their price, okay, then quantity, etc. and so on. Okay, so I consider it as a public. I'm using two function over here. Okay, one is to get the data. Okay, so I use that void. Rather say I see it as void data. I call it as find or add data. I call it as okay, add atom. That will be the proper name. Okay, I am passing the value 8 to it. That is my atom number. I am passing. Okay, and that whatever value is entered by the user, that I'm going to pass add to that particular atom. So the number is equal to A. Okay, so once I add the atom with some number, atom number, okay, the count should be incremented. So that is will be my number of atoms in my shop. So here what I should go for? I should go for count plus plus. Okay, so that is what we are considering. And I want some function to display this. Okay, so I call it as it is void show data. Generally we use the get count or show data. I use okay add get count. So there is no need to pass any value to it. Okay, so it will be void or I directly write it over here. Okay, get count. I just want to display the value of count. Okay. You also want to display the atom number. I don't think it is required to display the atom number. Whatever a value I assign, that will be displayed there. Okay, so I don't think it is required. Okay, so I just use C out, double quote, C out, and I'm going to use it as a count value. Okay, and I think there is no need to go from the new line. Okay, directly I can write here count. Okay. अपन atom number display के लिए नहीं है, so we are not displaying the atom number over here. Okay, because whatever value I assign, that is assigned to the number. Okay, so if it is 100, 200, 555, 333, 111, that will be assigned. I have not displayed it here. Okay, I don't think it is required to display because we are interested more on this count. Okay, so that whether it is getting the correct count or not. Okay, want you can display or you can add one more cout statement and display the number also. Okay. Okay, so this is my main class. Okay, so now here what we are going to do is while I am going to write down this function. Okay, to have access to this count, okay, as a static member. Okay, so as we are declaring it into the as a value, I want to accept it this count directly in my main function. Why we are doing it? Okay, let us do it as normal way. Okay, then we will see. Okay, so in the main function, what I'm going to do, I think we have seen in the PPTs, I have to create the object of the class atom. So atom A, comma B, comma C. I've created the three object. Okay, and now I'm going to display the value of the count. As we say, whenever the A object is created, whenever any one object is created, the static member is having the value assigned to the zero. Okay, initialized to zero. So I just want to check what is the value of get count. So A dot get count. So through A object, I want to display the value of count. It should be zero. Through B object, I also display again. It should be zero. Okay, and here also uh, it should be zero. COUNT. Okay. Now I am going to add the atom in my count. Okay, in my shop with some number. Okay. So which function I am going to call? I'm going to call the function. I think I have written the name of the function here as add atom. Okay, so I'm just going for add atom. So A will add the atom, A add atom, A dot through A object. I'm calling this function A dot add atom. Suppose I want to assign the first value of the that number is 111. Okay, so here B dot add atom. I want to use 222 atom. Okay, so these three atoms are added. Again, through A dot add atom, I can add one more atom. It doesn't matter. Okay, so the count will be automatically changed accordingly. Okay, and now suppose again after this adding, suppose again these three variables will call this. So I just copy this. Again, display the values. Here I am just copying as it is. Again, they call the function get count, and here the value should be displayed as 333 because three atoms are added. If I add four atoms, I think here it is going to display the value as. Just 1 minute. We are having some noise at my side. It's ch. Here also I will just add get ch because I just want to show that before I am adding the atom, okay, what value I am having, and here I just display after adding atom. After adding atom. I'm using end here. No, I must use the end so that it will be displayed appropriately on the new line. Or maybe at the start, I must use /n. Any other option. Come automatically on the new line. Clear screen I want to use, I can use the clear screen. Okay, I just save the program. F2 to save. Yeah. Okay, I'll check whether it's having some errors. Yes, it is having one error. Okay, which error it is showing? Okay, undefined symbol atom count in the module. That's why I told let the error to occur so that I will explain you why there is need whenever I am using the member as a static member. Okay, then this definition is very important. Okay, now undefined symbol atom count. The reason behind it, okay, because I cannot access this directly. So somewhere whenever I'm declaring that the static atom, so here, okay, before this main function, it is very important to declare. Okay, I repeat again. Whenever I am using the static member, I must use here my static member type is integer. Okay, so it belongs to which class? Atom. So scope resolution operator. Getting me? And what is the name of variable? Count. COUNT. Okay, this is very important. I must declare. This will help the main function to know that the count is the static member of the class atom. Okay, so I'm added this statement integer atom, then scope resolution operator and count. So count is a static member of the type data type integer, belongs to the class atom. Okay, so that is the thing that we need, the main function. Okay, so actually I have started adding it, but I thought let us error to come so that we will understand. Okay, because now why this error is there, because the count is declared only once and it is for the entire class. Okay, it is not for the object. Okay, so if it is created for the object A, B and C, A dot count, B dot count, C dot count is there, then I think there is no need to declare this. Okay, no need to use this. Okay, but in main function through ABC, I cannot have the separate copy of the count. Okay, so and now I'm accessing count through ABC. Okay, I think I have made the mistake here. Just 1 minute, I should use here. Anyone have any issue? Hello. I must use here ABC dot get item. ABC dot get count. Here also I should have ABC because I'm accessing it through the object. Okay, so that's why it is important to add this. Okay, or I want everyone to remember this. Add it as a declaration of the static variable. Okay, integer count is a static member, data type is integer, and it belongs to the class atom. F2 to save. Yes. F9. Now there is no error. Control F9. Okay, what is the initial value of the count? Is 0. Through A object also it is 0, B and C object. Also that the values are 0, 0, 0. Now I am added, 3 atoms are added. Okay, after adding the atom, now the count value becomes 3. Okay, if I add one more atom here, then obviously the count will become 4. Okay, I just add one more atom just to check whether it is correct or not. Now for adding the new one more atom, okay, so I may use A or I may use one more object also. Okay, for example, suppose I create here object comma D. Okay, now 4 objects are created and now I add one more atom here, D add atom. Okay, suppose it is 4, 4, 4. Okay, now the count become 4. Now I am displaying again through ABC. Okay, A dot B dot C. I can display for D object through D object also. I will get the get count. Okay, but it is not required. F2 save yes. F9 control F9. Okay, so count value is 0, 0, 0. After adding 4 atoms I have added, so count will become 4, 4, 4. Okay, so for all the objects, the static member will be the shareable, or it is shared by all the object, and it is only one copy of that is created for entire class. Okay, and that's why it is important to declare it as a static. Though there are a number of objects are there, any object is going to add, the count will be automatically updated. Okay, and it is accessible to the all the object. Okay, so is it clear to all? Hello, is it clear to all the students?
Yes, sir.
I want everyone to note down the program or take the screenshot of this. Okay, just 1 minute. See, this is important to add this. So this statement is important. Okay, you should add this one. Okay, integer, atom, and count. Okay, I think this should be your first screen. Okay, for the understand the static data atom, static member function, and this is your main function. I hope all of you have taken the screenshot of the same. Yes. And I hope all of you understood the use of declaring the member as a static. Okay. Now we just go back to the PPT just to understand the static member function now. Okay. So I just come back, open the PPTs, save the program, F2 to save. Okay, I think we have seen this diagram also. Okay, let us understand this, and I think it is better for me. I do go directly with the program. Okay, so that be more easy case. Okay, now I want each and every student to concentrate to understand what is mean by the static member function. Okay, see, we have seen declaration of static data member, okay, or variable, static variable. We are considering static function, okay, or static member function. Now, like static member variable, we can also have static member function. A member function, okay, if any member function that is declared as static has the following properties. Okay, so which are the properties it is having? So the first property is a static function can have access to only other static member functions or variable. So through static function, why I require static function? Because using this static function, member function, I can have access to the other static member function or static variable. Okay, so if I want to have access to the static variables, I will use the function also as a static declared in the same class. Okay, so in the class, whatever the other member functions are declared as a static, or maybe the variables or data members are declared as a static, that can be accessible now with the help of the static function. Okay, so that is the first thing that we have to consider. And now the second, how I'm going to access it? A static member function can be called using the class name. Okay, instead of the object, means I cannot call the static member function. See, make it very much clear. Remember this. I cannot call static member function through the object. I cannot write that a dot get data. Okay, I cannot write a dot get data if the get data is a static member function. Okay, if get data is the static, then I cannot write down the statement as a is my object of the class atom. I cannot write a dot get data. Okay, I cannot write it. Okay, because the static member function can be called using the class name instead of the object as follows. So to call it, I should use class name, scope resolution operator, and the name of the function. Okay, so here what is the name of the class atom? So I can use here to call the static member function. I can use atom. Okay, then I can use scope resolution operator. And what is the name of function? Suppose get data is a function which is a static. I have made the function as a static. Okay, then I can call atom colon get data. So I can access through the class name, scope resolution operator, and this. Okay, but I cannot use through object. Okay, instead of the object, I cannot access it through the help of the object. Again, the meaning is the static member function indicate that okay, there will be only one function for entire class. Okay, it is not separate function for the number of object. So I cannot access it through the object, but I can access it with the help of the name of the class. Okay, I can use the name of the class for this. Okay, so I think it is better. It is more easy for us to understand the static member function, okay, with the help of the program. Okay, so I'm just going for the program now for the static member function. Okay, so I just go for the. I'm just adding the program. Let us go for the program. I just 1 minute. Open the Turbo C editor. Okay, so I don't think it is required to save this program, okay, because we are going to program U2 PRG 51. RAM to demo use of static member function. Okay, so just declare the class. Before that, I must include the iostream.h hash include iostream.h and folio.h. So here I'm declaring the class. Okay, for example, test. The name of the class is test. It is having the code of the test, integer code. Similar to we are having the number of the atom. I consider that it is code. Okay, and now I use one variable static integer, that is my count. So we are using it, and here also I can use it. Okay, so this is my static member variable or static variable. This is my static member variable. Okay. By default it is private. Okay, and now I declared as a public and member function. Okay. Now here, suppose I want to assign the code to this. I use void set code to this test. Okay, so I use it as a void. Okay, I want the count should be assigned to it. Okay, so I use the code is equal to, okay, plus count. I'm going to increment the count value here. Okay, so what is the code of the first course? It will be 1. Okay, then it will be 2, it will be 3, and so on. So, or maybe it is account, you can say assign the code account number here. Okay, then I just implemented. Okay, so the count is the static. So though it is accessible by different objects, they will get the static value. Okay, so it will be incremented. Here I am just incrementing first, and then I'm going to assign. Okay, so that the one will be assigned. If I go for count plus, then the initial value 0 will be assigned, and then it is incremented by 1. Okay, so rather I'm going to about the pre-increment and post-increment. Okay, so I'm just going to increment it first, and then I'm going to assign the code to this value. Okay, a normal function, which is not a static member function. Okay, similarly I use the void show data. One more function I'm going to use. This is going to show the object number. Okay, so I use it as the cout double quote /n object number. Now here I get what is the object number is equal to code, whatever I have assigned the value to it. Okay, so I'm just using this as a code. Now what is the object number in this case? Code, and code has assigned to the static value of the count. So the object number will be whenever I create the object and whenever I'm going to call this show data. Okay, it is going to assign the object number will be 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, accordingly. Accordingly is going to assign it. Now I just want to use now here I want to display the value count. I want each and every student to note it down. Here I want to access the integer count variable, static integer count. I want to access to it. So in such a case, I will use the one more function void show count. Okay. Now I want to access this static variable of the or any static member. So I'm going to mark this function as a static by adding it. Okay, so this indicates so static void show count. I want to make this function as a static. So here I am considering it as it is my static member function. Okay, now here if I add static word over here or anywhere, so whenever the static word is added before the function declaration, okay, then we call it as it is a static member function. Okay, so here I am adding it as a static member function, opening bracket, and here I just want to display the count. Okay, so I'm using here it is cout double quote /n count. Okay, and I use it here count. Okay, so count is a static variable that is now accessible through the static function. Inside the static function, I'm going to accept it, and this is my end of my class. Okay, now what is important? I hope all of you are listening and it is visible to all. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. See here, if you want to make any function as a static, okay, generally why we are making the any function as a static, because that through static member function I want to access the static member function or data. Getting me? Suppose I am having this function static show count. This function I want to call inside my void show data here. Okay. Now it is not possible. Why it is not possible? Because if I want to access this static function, it will be, then I also want to make this as a static member function. Means static member function can have access to the static data as well as static member function. Okay. So no other function can have access to this. Okay. So that was the reason, okay, I have made this function as a static, and through this static I am just displaying the value of the count. I display the show count with the help of the function, and the name of function static. The count is also declared as a static data variable. Okay, so that was the reason we are doing this program. So let us go for its implementation in the main function, how I can have access to this. Okay, now here also, as I have made it clear, this is the variable which is static. Okay, so this integer count variable is the static and it belongs to the class test. So I must, before I go to the main function, I must inform the main function that this is the static. So I have to declare it. Return type is data type is integer, belongs to the class test, scope resolution operator, and the count. Okay, this will inform the main function that it is the static variable. Okay, and now I write down the main function. Okay. Now in the main function, suppose I just created two tests, test T1, comma T2. Okay, these two objects are created. Okay. Now I want to set the code to these two objects. Okay, set the code. How to set the code? The code will be, see, suppose already I have covered the 10 tests. Okay, the new number will be 11, test number 11. Okay, so but here in this case, I have not created any test. Okay, so initial value of the count will be 0. So my first set code will assign the value. So I just get it as T1 variable, the object T1 dot, what function I have used, set code. Okay, so I'm just calling this function. Let us understand set code, what it is going to do. Yes, this is the set code function. It is going to assign the code is equal to count. Okay, what is the initial value of the count? It will be 0. Okay, now it will be incremented by 1, pre-increment. So now my first test is having the code 1. Okay, second test is having the code 2, and it will just goes on incrementing. So I goes on created the n number of object of the test T1, T2, T3, T4. Automatically the code will be incremented by 1 and it will be assigned to it. Okay, so that is what our purpose. T2 dot set code. What is the code assigned to the T2 set test? It will be 2, because here it will be assigned 1. Okay, here it is 1 and here it will be assigned 2. So automatically it will assign the next code will be automatically assigned. Suppose you have completed 11 tests and you created the new test as a 12 test, test number 12. So automatically there is no need for you to remember that whether I have created 11 tests or what will be the number, it will be 12. Or suppose today I am conducting the lecture number 15. So no need for me to remember the next number. Okay, whatever previous plus 1 will be added. Okay, and it will be assigned to the new lecture, okay, or to new test. Okay. Now, I want to call this static member function in the main function. In the main, I want to make it as call this static void show count. Okay. Similarly, this variable I have declared. Okay. Similarly, I have to make it here. To access it, I have to go for just now we have seen on the PPT how I can access test, because see, this show count is a member function. It will not belong to T1 object and T2 object. T1 object and T2 object cannot have access to it. I cannot access T1 dot show count, T2 dot show count. Okay, I can access through the name of the class. Okay, just that is what we have seen. The name of class is test, scope resolution operator. What is the name of static function? Static member function show count. Okay. This is what we are accessing. So here I write it as, in this way I access or call, we can say access the static member function. Remember, you cannot access T1 dot show count or T2 dot show count. Okay, that will not be the correct statement and it will not display anything. Okay. So here now after show count, what is the value displayed over here? Yes, anyone can give me the answer. show count is going to display the value of count. So here, what is the expected output? It will be 2. Okay, getting me? Here I will get the answer as a 2. Okay, I just use the get ch here. Okay, so my count will be 2 because I have created the two tests T1 and T2 and I have set this code. Okay, here the count will be 2. And now suppose I will one more test. Okay, suppose I created one more object of the test. Suppose it is T3. Okay, I created for the what is this? The code value will be incremented by 1. We pre-increment and assign. So code will be have the value is equal to 3. And again, I want to call it here. Okay, the test colon show count. Here, what is the expected value? I think here the expected value
3.
of the count should be 3. Okay, and here it is expected value to be 2. Me? And if I want to check the number of objects which are created, okay, I think I don't think it is required. Let us execute this. This is sufficient to understand the static member function. Okay, but if you want, we will do it. Let us execute this first. F2, yes. F9, is there errors? No, it is not having any errors. I executed control F9. What has happened? This is the old one. Na? I think I have not used clear screen. Just 1 minute. Previous screen also it is using. Let us add clear screen. Use CLR, SCR. F9, control F9. Yes, you can find initial value of the count is displayed as a 2. Okay, because we have created the set count. 2 objects are created and they have used set code value to it. Okay, through that object. Okay, so the count will be incremented. And after that, I think after this count 2 displayed, I think we have created the test T3 and we have set it. So the count value will become 3. And that is what is our expected output. Okay, so if I call, I think that is more than sufficient. But if you want to call this function here, I think this is not a static function. Okay, show data is not a static function. Okay, so if it is not static function, I can directly have access to this using the T1.showData, T2.showData, and T3.showData. Let us do it for your understanding. Okay, here I can call T1.showData. I can call here T2.showData. This is possible because it is not a static member function. Show data. So obviously, what this output it will be displayed by this 3 statement. I think what is there in the show data is we have just displayed the object number. Okay, here it will display the object number is code. Object number is equal to code. So for T1 it is assigned the code as 1. For T2 it is assigned the code 2. For T3 it has assigned the code 3. So I think here it will display 1, 2, 3. Okay, T1.showData will be 1. This will be 2. This will be 3. Okay, because in the same sequence we have added T1.setCode, T2.t, and then we have added T3.setCode. Okay, F2, yes, F9, and what has happened? Statement missing. Okay, here it is missing.
Get ch, sir.
Oh, save, yes, F9, control F9. Okay, count is initially 2, count is 3, and now I think we have displayed object number 1, 2, 3 should be displayed. Object number is now having the value, means T1 test is now having the value as 1, T2 is having 2, T3 is having 3. So object number will be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so in this way it is possible for us. Now suppose now I have created one more test. Okay, but now I have created it through the T1. Okay, object. Through T1 object I have created it. Okay, so here suppose I just go for .set code. Means I have now created one more assign new test and assign the code. Okay, so after that obviously the count value will become 4. Okay, though it is the same object, through T1 again I have created one more test. Okay, so in that case the set code value will be there, and again if I want to display the count here, show count, so definitely the value which will be displayed here should be 4. Getting me? Okay, because it doesn't matter whether you are now calling this set code through which object. The object number of created objects are maybe only 3, but the number of tests you can create and that number will be assigned. Okay, so T1 dot set code. Okay, through object again I'm going to set the test. Now it will get the number 4, and the same 4 should be displayed here through show count. Okay, let us check. F2 to save. F9, control F9. Initially count is 2, count is 3, objects are there. Now I have called one more test I have set through the object T1. Okay, so the count will become 4. And again I go for show count, so the count will become 4. Okay, value, so it is correct. Okay, so whatever we are expecting, it is going to show the same result. Okay, so static data member and the static member function, okay, generally I will use in my program if I want that all the objects, okay, so I will create a number of objects, okay, but all the objects should use share the same variable or use the same function, okay, only one function common to all the objects, okay, common to all objects. In such a case I will go for static data member as well as static member function. Okay, so I cannot use only the static member function because static member function is used to access the static data and static member. Okay, so definitely I think I should use the static data also, then only I will use the static member function. So these are interconnected. Okay, you cannot say that I'm just using static member function, but why we are using static member function? To access the static data and static member. Okay, so obviously I think it is necessary to declare the variable data member as a static and then use that variable in a static member function. Okay, and that will be the correct way of using the static member function. Okay, I hope all of you understood it. What is the time? I think we are almost 10:58. I want everyone to take down this program, note down the program so that you can execute it. Just delete the lines in between. You can take the first screenshot where you will get all this class. A complete class is there. You have taken the screenshot of this.
Yes,
the
sir.
screenshot of yes.
Yes, sir.
Of this now main function. Yes, execute the program. Okay, I think tomorrow's lecture we will understand what it means by the frame function. Okay, so